Hi, Nathan Ronen, CFA, here with another update for all CFA Level I candidates. So if you're a Level 1 candidate or even a Level 2 or Level 3 and you'd like to continue receiving these updates and having them at your fingertips when they're placed on YouTube or wherever, please press the subscribe button and the notifications button so that you can get them as quickly as possible and be updated. Okay, Level 1 candidates. It's getting time probably toward your CFA Level 1 exam, whether it's in May or August or November or even February. And now you got to put it all together. You've been studying, you've been putting your time into reading the curriculum or reading some prep providers, study notes or whatever. And now you're wondering, do I know this material or not? So obviously the only way that you're going to see whether or not you've actually retain the information is by doing mock exams. And I want to talk about mock exams in this little segment. Many Level 1 candidates think that the more they study and pump at the material and pump at the material and pump at the material, the better their results are going to be. They're going to ace the exam just like a high school exam or a college exam, and they don't really need to do much practice. That is one of the biggest mistakes you can make going into that Level 1 exam in February, May, August, or November, is not having done any mock exams or just a few mock exams. Because you really do need practice. You need to be able to see that the material that you've been presented, that you're connecting the dots between the materials, between the learning outcome statements that they have, between the different readings, because that is how the Level 1 exam is done. If you're expecting these sort of like knee-jerk, drop in the bucket kind of questions right out of the book. For example, which one of these is not a current asset, or which of these is not a true statement about the constant growth dividend discount model? It's not going to be that easy. So they're really going to integrate a lot of concepts and a lot of material to formulate those 180 questions. And that's what most people get really surprised about, is because they do these mock exams from different prep providers. And then when they go into the real exam, it's very different. And you should expect it to be very different, because here's the truth. No prep provider has a monopoly on mock exams or being close to the real exam. We all are in the same bucket, okay? However, we produce our mock exams very differently. Some can be a little bit more on the computation base. Another prep provider might be more minutia or a little information based. My mock exams, the two that I have at Level 1, and I highly recommend that you do them, are really focused on integrating concepts. And that's what happens on the exam as well. Sometimes I will create questions that integrate concepts from corporate issuers with equity, and I'll call it an equity question. Or I might take something from quant and integrate it with fixed income and call it a quant question or a fixed income question. I might take, for example, forward contracts, which is discussed in derivatives, and integrate it with currency exchange rates, which is discussed in economics, to create either a derivatives question or an economics question. That is the kind of thing that you should anticipate on the real exam as well. Not these linear type questions that are directly out of the book, that are just testing whether or not you read the material. The CFA Institute is under the impression that most everybody taking the exam has, to some degree, read the material. Now it's to distinguish the men from the boys, the women from the girls, and who really knows this from who just memorized a whole bunch of information. So you should do mock exams, and you should do mock exams from a variety of sources. If somebody's selling you 10 mock exams for $8, well, my alarm bells would really go off, because it takes a lot to create a good mock exam. So I'd be wondering about the real quality of the mock exam for that kind of price. But anyway, even if you did get 10 mock exams for $8, pay the prep provider $8 and do 2 mock exams. That's it. You shouldn't really do more than 2 mock exams from any one provider, from any one source, because otherwise what you are implicitly doing is you're getting locked into that prep provider's way of asking questions, their thought process when they're creating the answers, and then expecting the same type of format or same type of structure on the real exam. And that's not right. So I would get a variety, maybe do a couple from Kaplan, a couple from me, a couple from Wiley, a couple from some other sources. The CFA Institute has a couple of mock exams that are done by one of the societies, and then mix them up. Do them randomly. Don't do them all from one prep provider at a time. Mix them up a little bit, and you will see that your scores will vary a little bit. But here's the thing. What should be the correlation between your scores on the mock exams and your real exam? The correlation is probably close to 0, because many times the questions that you're getting on these mock exams, they are designed to do 2 things. At least from my standpoint, I try to do 2 things. Number one, help you to manage your time correctly on the exam so that you are not overspending time and that you're able to finish all your questions and finish the exam. So it's definitely time management. And then the second thing is making sure that you know the connections between the material and that you know how to connect the different concepts. And if you don't, then you have enough time to go back to the original sources, the original readings, and read up about them and understand them better. But to look for a one-to-one correlation between the questions on a mock exam and the real exam, when the prep provider doesn't even see the real exam, CFA Institute hasn't released the real exams for Level 1 since 1997. So don't expect any mock exam to be a simulation of exactly what you're going to get on the real exam in terms of questions. Just look at it as a stepping stone to prepare for the real exam. So do them from multiple sources, do more than one or two, do quite a few, as many as you can. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, and I advise you to really and encourage you, do the 2 mock exams. I think you'll see a major difference between the 2 mock exams that I have on my website and what you may have been doing with other sources. So good luck to you on that Level 1 exam. And remember, mocks, you got to practice. You can't run the marathon without practicing how to run, okay? So good luck to you and see you at Level 2.